I'm Eddie Brock. I'm a reporter. I always seem to find myself questioning something the government may not be looking at. I found something really bad. And I have been taken.
I am so glad to finally see Venom on the big screen. Growing up, he was my favorite Spider-Man antagonist. So, were you a fan of the source material?
I became one. I wasn't familiar with the diversity and the complexities of the character. I recognise him from seeing comics as a boy, but I didn't know much about him, to be fair. So I became obviously a fan, and now a massive champion for him because obviously I play him. And then my son was the linchpin and the font of all wisdom to explain exactly how one would have to approach playing Venom.
We are Venom.
In general, the fan base seems to be totally on board with you. What was your experience with the fan base so far at Comic-Con?
Comic-Con was awesome, and the fans of Venom are prolifically awesome, and obviously he's such a profoundly and important character to the fans. So it was really nice to be able to be accepted as somebody that they would allow to play him, or at least hold their breath to go, well, let's see what Tom will or will not be capable of achieving with him. And I'm very honoured to be involved in the movie of Venom and to have met fans. And one thing that I think is amazing is the amount of art and graphic artwork that is being produced by fans on a daily basis towards Venom. He's an incredibly popular and iconic character.
Venom is by far, for me, the I don't want to upset anyone, but I think he's the coolest Marvel superhero that there is.
And you said on Comic-Con, if I'm not mistaken, that Venom is the coolest character ever created for Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel, yeah.
What makes him so cool?
For me, I'm a little bit jaded in some aspect of the concept of superheroes. They're quite symbolic of good or evil, and I don't think life is for me. I'm more inclined to be drawn towards people like the Punisher, or in fact, I like comic books like the Nam, which is a slightly different type of comic, but it reflected the Vietnam War. It was it only ran for a year series, so I was drawn to real world more than superheroes, if that makes sense. What I like though, and what draws me, and why I think for me Venom really touches me and connected with me, was the fact that he has questionable ethics, and actually questionable morals. In fact, morals aren't really important. It's the ethical framework with which he can create within, as having come from outer space in many aspects and combining with a human form, the dialogue that goes on between the human paradox and condition and that from another planet that has no need or understanding for a human condition in any way, shape or form. So he literally writes the rules as he goes along, and he's bombastic and huge and can do some pretty amazing stuff. But psychologically he's interesting because he presents greyness and a delicious wickedness, which is different to other comic book characters I've come across.
Eyes, lungs, pancreas, so many snacks, so little time.
Last question. I compiled a list of quotes from the most iconic Spidey villains and some quotes of yourself from your filmography. And I was wondering if you'd be able to guess which quote is from you and which quote is coming from a villain. Would you be able to do that?
Yeah.
Let's start with something simple. It's not the violence that sets a man apart.
That's Forrest Bondurant.
Wow.
It is not the violence that sets a man apart. All right, it is the distance that he is prepared to go.
Misery, misery. That's what you've chosen? I offered you friendship and you spat in my face.
Never heard of it.
That's Spider-Man villain. That's the Green Goblin.
Not my problem.
not your problem.
Yet.
Misery, 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 that's what you've chosen. I offered you friendship, and you spat in my face.
My world is fire and blood.
That's not mine.
It's yours.
What from?
Mad Max.
Oh, yeah, but yeah.
My world is fire and blood.
My world is fire and blood.
It's my birthday. Now it's time for me to light my candles.
That's not me either.
That's not you either. That's Electro.
It's my birthday. Now it's time for me to light my candles.
The final one. Approximately 2% of my body mass is fat. Allow me to show you what 350 pounds of muscle is capable of.
That's not me.
No, it's not you either. It's Wilson Fisk.
Approximately 2% of my body mass is fat. Allow me to show you what 350 pounds of muscle is capable of.
Yeah, okay. You got me on the Mad Max one. I feel utterly ashamed and embarrassed, which reminds me we need to go and do a sequel now. We need to get George on the phone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Take care.
Oh, I have a parasite. Yeah. Name is Chen.